It's right after this that the head kidnapper guy goes and opens a call to his benefactor, and it's none other than Reva. Yeah, I already said that earlier, so this wasn't a big reveal. But now we can finally talk about Reva's plan. So basically, she wants to capture Obi-Wan and bring him to Vader so that he'll recognize her and promote her to Grand Inquisitor. And apparently, by studying the Jedi archives, she was able to find out that Obi-Wan and Bail were friends back during the days of the Old Republic. Now that's a pretty weak connection she's making, and she's doing a few leaps in logic because of it, so it's lucky for her that she was right, I guess. So she decides to kidnap Leia so that Bail will ask Obi-Wan to go rescue her, and since we've already gone over why him picking Obi-Wan for the task should have been the last-ditch effort, this is also extremely lucky on her part. And it's lucky that Bail was able to track the signature of the ship the kidnappers were using to get to Daiyu, otherwise he and Obi-Wan would have been sitting around with their thumbs up their asses trying to figure out where Leia was taken. And then Reva's plan falls apart. My point is, she's making a lot of pretty baseless assumptions and has a pretty weak plan, but thanks to a little thing called convenience, we're right where we need to be for the story to happen. You gotta love it. But it's worth mentioning that because this flimsy connection between Obi-Wan and Bail that Reva somehow happened upon turned out to actually strike oil, the Empire should now be fully aware that the Organas are Jedi sympathizers, and it even goes as far as they knew where one of the most infamous Jedi of all time was hiding out and how to contact him. And that pretty much fucks with everything, because now there's no getting back to the status quo of the original trilogy. It's all fucked now. In A New Hope, it's definitely implied that Vader suspected Leia and her family of having at least some involvement with the rebellion.
Don't act so surprised, Your Highness. You weren't on any mercy mission this time. Several transmissions were beamed to the ship by rebel spies,
but was never able to move against them because I assume that Palpatine would demand he find proof before doing so. Remember, at the time the Imperial Senate was still a thing, and Palpatine did still have to answer to them.
The Chancellor will not be able to control the thousands of star systems without keeping the Senate intact.
Holding her is dangerous. Word of this gets out, it could generate sympathy for the rebellion in the Senate.
So arresting a high-ranking senator for treason against the Empire needs to be justified with irrefutable evidence, which Vader finally managed to get a hold of when he caught Leia red-handed with the Death Star plans. But now you're telling me that they knew Bail had a direct link to Obi-Wan Kenobi for 10 years and said nothing. It's provable under any reasonable doubt, which I would think is grounds for arrest and probably even execution. At minimum, we're looking at him being removed from office in the Senate, and Alderaan would probably have been made an example of as the Empire turned it into a mining world or a labor camp or something like that. There's definitely no way Bail's standing with the Empire remains intact after this. And what's ironic here is that if Bail had allowed it to become public information that Leia was kidnapped, then he would at least have plausible deniability here. He could reasonably plead the case that Obi-Wan must have heard about her kidnapping on the news somewhere and came out of hiding to rescue her. But because he wanted to keep things under wraps, the only way Obi-Wan would have known about it would have been through the Organas, so there's literally no world where they get out of this. It's all fucking broken. Also, and maybe this is a bit out there, but if Vader came to learn that Bail had a direct link to Obi-Wan for all those years, and he knows Bail was a good friend of Padme's, and he knows that Bail and Breha adopted a baby 10 years ago, around the same time that his own child would have been born had Padme survived, then wouldn't he at least suspect that Leia is his daughter? Especially after this scene. I feel like at the very least he would get her DNA tested or something just to make sure. Vader's not an idiot. He absolutely should have put two and two together, but I guess not. And you know what? With everything I've just said in mind, I think after this conflict is over, the best thing for the Organas to do should be to go into hiding. I mean, even if we pretend that their status within the Senate is somehow unscathed, the Empire at least still knows that Leia is a person who, for whatever reason, is of interest to Obi-Wan. Taking her prisoner and threatening her safety is now confirmed to be a guaranteed way to bait Obi-Wan out of hiding, and they know exactly where she lives, so I don't see why they don't just do it again. Hey y'all! That right there was just a little preview of the upcoming Kenobi video that I'm working on. It's a bit of a long one, and I know it's been a long time now since the Kenobi finale, and I still haven't uploaded it, so I wanted to get this out there just for those of you who haven't seen any of my posts on here or on Twitter, just so you still know that this is coming out. I am working on it, and this is the kind of thing to expect from it. It's gonna be 2 hours. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you when I finally finish this.